The butcher. Moving out of my last apartment wasn't exactly part of the plan, but some unexpected circumstances left me no choice. I spent weeks searching for a new place, but nothing fit my tight budget. The options were bleak. Just when I was about to give up hope, I stumbled upon an ad for a 3-bedroom apartment needing a third roommate. It was in the less desirable part of town, and something about it didn't feel right, but it was all I could afford. So I thought, what's the worst that could happen? When I arrived at the building, I felt my stomach tighten. The place looked run down, graffiti-covered walls, flickering lights, and a lingering smell of mildew. I knocked on the door, and 2 guys, Danny and Eddie, answered. They were already living there, old friends from the way they interacted. Danny, with his tattoos and greasy hair, seemed to be the more talkative one, while Eddie, taller and more reserved, hung back with a half-smile that didn't reach his eyes.
We were wondering if anyone would actually respond to the ad.
Danny chuckled, scratching his chin.
I'm Danny, and that's Eddie. We're looking for someone chill to help with the rent.
I forced a smile and introduced myself. They were a rough-looking pair, the kind your parents would warn you to avoid, but I didn't have many choices left, so I took a deep breath and said, "Yeah, I think I'll take it." The apartment was messy, filled with clutter, old beer cans, and an odd smell that seemed to cling to the walls. I told myself I could make do, at least for now. I mostly kept to myself after moving in. I stayed in my room, focusing on school and work. One day, Danny knocked on my door, grinning.
Hey, you want to chip in for some food?
He asked.
I work down at the butcher shop, and I can get us some sausages on the cheap.
I hesitated, but eventually nodded. Sure, why not? I replied, thinking it might help save on groceries. Danny came back after his shift, carrying packs of sausages. They were different. At first, the taste was strange, but soon I started craving them, like they had some unique spice or ingredient I couldn't place. What's in these sausages? I asked Danny one evening, half jokingly. He shrugged, looking a bit confused.
Beats me. The old butcher there makes them special, keeps his recipe to himself. But they're good, right?
I nodded, trying to shake off the uneasy feeling in my gut. A few weeks passed, uneventfully, but the sausages remained the highlight of my otherwise dull existence. Then, one evening, Danny stormed in, slamming the door. Eddie and I looked up from the couch.
What's up?
Eddie asked, smirking. Danny's face was red with anger.
That damn butcher fired me.
He spat.
Accused me of stealing his special sausages. The old fart had no proof, but he kicked me out anyway.
Eddie chuckled.
Well, you were taking them.
Danny shot him a look.
Yeah, but he didn't know that for sure. Stupid jerk.
I felt a wave of guilt. I'd been enjoying those sausages for weeks, and now I knew they were stolen. But before I could say anything, Danny grinned wickedly.
You know what? Let's get back at him. I know a way into the shop. We can take all the sausages he's got left.
Eddie laughed.
Hell yeah, I'm in.
They both looked at me.
What about you?
I hesitated. I don't know, guys. Danny's face turned serious.
Listen, man. You've been eating those sausages too. If we get caught, we all go down. So, you're coming.
I sighed, knowing they were right. Fine, I muttered. I'll help. We headed to the butcher shop that night. Danny had a plan. He'd sneak in and grab as much as he could while Eddie and I kept watch. Minutes passed and Danny didn't come back. I exchanged a worried glance with Eddie.
Something's wrong,
he whispered.
We should check it out.
The shop was dark and quiet, and an eerie chill filled the air. Eddie took the lead, flashlight in hand. As we moved toward the back, he suddenly froze. What is it? I asked, peering over his shoulder. My breath caught in my throat. Blood was everywhere, splattered across the walls and pooled on the floor. And there, amidst the carnage, lay severed body parts. Jesus, what the hell is this? I whispered, panic setting in. Eddie turned to run, pushing me aside. I stumbled, dropping my flashlight. I heard Eddie's footsteps falter, followed by a sickening splatter. My hands fumbled in the dark, searching for the light. When I finally found it and turned it on, I wished I hadn't. A short, old man stood over Eddie's lifeless body, his eyes glowing yellow, a twisted grin on his face. Horns curled out from his forehead, and his long, sharp claws dripped with blood. Eddie's torso had been torn in half, his insides spilling out like a grotesque tapestry. I backed into a corner, trembling. The creature crouched down, picked up a piece of Eddie's flesh, and tossed it to me.
Eat.
It growled, its voice deep and menacing.
You are like me now.
I stared at the raw meat in my hand, my stomach churning, but a strange hunger gnawed at me. My mouth watered uncontrollably, and before I knew it, I was biting into the flesh, the taste oddly familiar. As the flavor filled my mouth, a smile spread across my face. I realized with a sickening clarity, it tastes just like the sausages.
Thank you for listening to this terrifying twist tale. Please support this channel by liking and subscribing.